Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
Hey everyone, Sue here at 1A Auto, and today I'm going to show you how to replace a lower ball joint in an 03 Volvo V70. If you need that part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1aauto.com. First thing we're going to do is remove the tire. I have weight on the tire of the vehicle still, so I can break the lug nuts free, and this is a 19 millimeter. I'm just going to break them free, then raise the vehicle up. Now that the car's up in the air, I can remove the lug studs. This is what a European car does. There's not lug nuts because there's no studs on the hub, so it's a whole post. So when you get to your last one, you better have both hands ready to grab the tire. So I don't, like, this one's frozen on there, but normally the wheel will fall right off. So just keep one of the lug studs partially threaded in, and you break it free. I'm going to start by removing the center of the axle nut. Actually, it's a bolt on this Volvo with a 14 millimeter socket. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to remove the lower ball joint now to the knuckle. It's a 14 millimeter socket. I'm going to just break it free. There's 2 mounting bolts. So as you can see, they come from the factory loaded up with thread locker. So we're gonna, if we end up reusing these bolts, it's a must that you clean that with a wire brush or wire wheel and reapply. So I'm going to spray where the ball joint meets the knuckle. See if I can get some in there to break it free. I'm going to end up taking a brass punch and a hammer and chiseling right on the edge of this ball joint housing, and hopefully I can vibrate that enough that it's going to pop out of the aluminum knuckle. That's working pretty good. I'm going to turn the wheel and see if I can get a better shot at the other side. It's so difficult with aluminum because you can't damage it. It's moving though. Let's see if I can get something in there, enough to give it a little wedge. So I'm going to take 2 pry bars and I'm going to see if I can get them to wedge in on both sides of the ears. One side there, and then, well, this one's really tight over here. So I want to put pressure on both sides evenly. That's the idea here. So let's see if I can get this side here down a little bit more. Okay, looks pretty good. Let's put one in the front. There we go. There we go, equal pressure. That worked pretty good. And that's different than what we're all used to doing if we don't work on the European cars enough. But because of it's being aluminum, we have to adapt. So now I can just pry down and pull this out of the way. Perfect. So now I'm just going to give this axle a little tap through so we can get the throw, the perfect throw. And now I can just pull this right out. Perfect. Let's get the pry bar out. Now with an 18mm socket, I'm going to remove the lower stud spindle nut for the ball joint. It goes through the control arm. So obviously the spindle spins the actual ball joint, so that's why they put a Torx bit insert. So it's a T40. So I'm going to put that in, hold the nut, and I'm going to break this free. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool ball joint the way they designed that. So this cone shape spins on the nut because you have an aluminum control arm. So that's how they compress it without damaging the aluminum. Here we have our new ball joint from 1A Auto and the factory ball joint from our Volvo V70. So the new ball joint comes with the new push lockdown nut, same as the factory. It's got a moving spacer on it. Comes with a protective plastic cover that you remove before installation. The knurl part that presses into the knuckle. It even comes with a new axle bolt that you have to remove the axle to do the ball joint, and 2 mounting bolts that go up into the knuckle. If you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1aauto.com. So now I'm going to install the new ball joint in the aluminum knuckle. And because it's an offset ball joint, I already cleaned inside here. Make sure you keep any dirt, debris, aluminum shavings out of there, and make sure the new ball joint is clean. And see how it's offset? So I'm going to start at this angle so that the bolt that I've already put thread locker on, because you do need to do that, will actually pull up the back side of it into place. So with holding it at that angle is when I'm going to tighten the bolts up and see if I can get it to suck up into the spot. Okay, so I'm going to hold it at that angle. Use an extension so I can keep an eye. Hopefully, see if I can get these to pull up in. And go back and forth. I think I'm going to hold it right there because I can feel the back already pulling it up. Now I'm going to hit it with a punch and a hammer. See if I can get that to seat. I'm being careful, obviously, not to hit that clamp in the boot. And that is working. I'm going to hit that again. See if I can get that to seat a little better. I actually felt it give and went right up. Let's torque it down. So the specs are 29 foot-pounds for the bolt to ball joint to knuckle. I've got my gauge set. There we go. let's line up the CV shaft in with the hub so that we can put the ball joint in place. I'm going to get a pry bar, pull down on the control arm at the same time. So it is cumbersome, so you have to like really line it up. Use your body. And we're going to use our new bolt that once it gets start in the spindle, I'm going to put the bolt in, thread it by hand so that I can keep that spindle lined up in the hub. Well, the bolt seems long enough. There we go. Now we're going to pry down on that control arm and try to get that ball joint in. So we have to get quite a bit of throw here. So I'm going to turn the wheel all the way to the left so that I can really get as much throw as possible. Turn that ball joint in. So close. There's a lot of tension behind that ball joint. That control arm, a lot of tension. Now that I got the ball joint down into the control arm, I'm going to put the new ball joint nut on. This is an 18mm socket. We're going to torque that down to manufacturer's specs. So the torque on this is 37 foot-pounds. So now we're going to tighten the axle bolt. It is 35 Newton meters, which comes out to 25.8 foot-pounds. So I'm going to just hold it because it's only 25.8 foot-pounds. And then it says an additional 90 degrees. So once you torque it to the specs, they say an extra 90 degrees. So I'm going to put a pry bar in here, and I've got my gauge set to 90-degree angle. And that's how you do that. I'm going to remove the lug studs. Now before I install my wheel on my European car, I'm going to use the wheel stud pin set that 1A Auto supplies. It comes with two sets, a 12 by 1.5 or 14 by 1.25. In this case, our Volvo is a 14 by 1.25. And I'm just going to put two of them in there. I'm not going to use all four. And that way, when I pull the tire up, it has something to rest on. And anyone that's ever worked on a European car knows the frustration of trying to hold the wheel up and thread in a lug stud. So the neat thing about this is how it works. I just need to line up two of those studs. Now I can just walk away. That's the great part. Get my lug nuts, studs I mean, and I can just take my time threading them in by hand. And it's not going to fall off. So now that I've got three of the lug studs in there, I'm just going to tighten down, hand tighten two of them so that the wheel is flat against the hub. Now I can remove my helping guide pins. I can just back those out. I think it's a must for your toolbox. These things are crazy awesome, and it stops any frustrations. Now that I have them all hand tight, I can lower the vehicle down, put some slight weight on them, and torque them. So now I'm going to torque the wheel. I've got the weight of the vehicle on the tire, and the torque for this Volvo is 103 foot-pounds. And like usual, I'm going to do everything in a star pattern. Okay, let's double check. Now that the repairs are done on the driver's side, repeat the process on the passenger side.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at 1AAuto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.